Good morning. Let me begin by extending our heartfelt gratitude to the families of our most heroic officers, and many thanks to all of the law enforcement agencies represented here. The President of the United States established National Police Week years ago in dedication of all officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. Today we honor our 49 officers and mark this day as San Antonio Police Officer Memorial Day. The legacy they have left is one of a continued commitment to maintaining law and order, devotion to duty, and an unwavering capacity to serve and protect our community. Today we remember these 49 officers, and we also ensure that the family and friends of these officers, that you too are remembered on this day. It's now my great pleasure to introduce the 50th Attorney General of the state of Texas, the Honorable Greg Abbott. Protecting Texans has been a hallmark of Attorney General Abbott's administration since he took office in 2002. He established a cybercrimes unit to arrest criminals who use the internet to prey upon children. His fugitive unit tracks down and arrests sex offenders who violate their parole. And his Medicaid fraud control unit protects the safety of residents in long-term care facilities throughout the state of Texas. Attorney General Abbott is a strong supporter of law enforcement. His office regularly partners with local peace officers and prosecutors in bringing criminals to justice. Recently, Attorney General Abbott's investigators and prosecution team broke open a 20-year-old East Texas multiple murder case, obtaining life sentences for each of the defendants in the case. Attorney General Abbott and his wife of 27 years, Cecilia, live in Austin with their daughter, Audrey. Please join me in welcoming our special guest, Attorney General Greg Abbott. Attorney General.
Chief, thank you very much for your outstanding introduction. Thank you also for the very warm welcome that you've shown me today. It's an honor and privilege to get to be with you, as well as all the men and women of the San Antonio Police Department. And let me also express my gratitude to the San Antonio Police Department for inviting me to be with you today. And while I am recognizing people in groups, I do want to take a moment to recognize and express my gratitude, and probably the gratitude of all of us here, to have the Gillette Elementary School sing the national anthem. What a great job you did. I want you to know it's an honor to be in San Antonio, which is truly an historic city, and it's an honor to be at this very moving memorial. And that in part is because of my duties as Attorney General, but frankly it's a lot more personal than that, because I share the same feelings that thousands of people across San Antonio share, and that is, to me, what the San Antonio Police Department does is personal. Like so many other people here and across this town and county, I have a lot of family in San Antonio. My wife, whom I've been married to for 27 years, grew up here. Her family is still here. My brother is here, as well as his family. And they, like all these other families across San Antonio, depend upon the San Antonio Police Department as the shield of protection against the horrible tragedy of crime. So I want to join all of the families across the greater San Antonio area for saying thank you for the dedicated service that you provide to my family and all other families in San Antonio. It's important for us to recognize and understand that today we are in the company of heroes. These heroes are not with us today here in body, but they're with us in our hearts and in our minds. Across Texas and across the entire country, flags are flying at half-mast. They do that this week in honor of National Police Week, in recognition of the peace officers who gave their last full measure of devotion. We're here to honor them, and we're here because of them. These fallen peace officers took seriously their vow to serve and to protect, and we owe them our deepest gratitude for keeping us all safe. These officers valued human life so much they gave their own lives to protect it. That's what was said when the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial was dedicated in Washington, D.C. in 1991. That expressed America's heartfelt sentiment, and it's a sentiment echoed every year since President John F. Kennedy signed the proclamation that established the first National Peace Officers Memorial Day. It's a time when grateful citizens across this great land join grieving family members as well as surviving colleagues to remember the sacrifice made by these brave men and women. We honor that sacrifice today. The 49 officers whose names are etched in the wall behind me and whose lives are remembered as we gaze at this eternal flame gave everything to protect San Antonio. These brave officers served in a variety of different roles within the police department, but they shared the common commitment to protect and to serve. Texas, and San Antonio in particular, have a long and proud heritage of courage in the face of danger. From the very earliest days of the Republic, we've been inspired by the tough band of patriots who streamed from all over the country to fight for Texas independence at the Alamo. Those brave individuals put the liberty of others and of future generations to come before their own lives. And ever since that time, the men and women of San Antonio law enforcement have proudly carried on that legacy of courage. Those officers and their brave actions are honored on this wall, dating back almost to the very beginnings of Texas. Their stories of sacrifice are as varied as they are tragic, including shootouts, drownings, motorcycle accidents, and cold-blooded murder. The first decade of the 21st century has brought even more sacrifice. After losing 3 officers in 2001, San Antonio has lost an officer in each of the last 4 years. The most recent is Officer Robert Davis, who tragically died on December 1st, 2008. It was only 26 years old and has served just a year and a half in the force. His wife, Simona, is with us today. Mrs. Davis, our thoughts and our prayers are with you, and our gratitude to you, your husband, and your entire family for the sacrifice all of you have made to ensure that San Antonio is a safer and better place. Officer Davis was one of the 14 fallen officers in Texas during 2008. That is the most of any state in the Union. Well, as terrible as that statistic is, it represents a 36% drop statewide from the year before. Now, while that trend is in the right direction, it's small comfort to those who've lost a husband, a dad, a wife, a mother, a sister, a brother, or a friend. Ronald Reagan once said that the price of a free nation is sometimes counted in the dearest currency, human life. We gather here today forever indebted to those who paid the ultimate price and to their families and loved ones who mourn their absence. Because of these officers, we understand more fully the words inscribed at the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial. In valor, there is hope. The valor they displayed in the days past gives hope for the rest of us for a freer and safer tomorrow. So as taps is played and as the roll is called, we thank God for these officers, and we ask God for His blessings and His comfort for their loved ones. May God continue to bless the officers who've been lost, their dear families, the great city of San Antonio, and the state of Texas, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Please be seated. Just take a second to recognize a few other distinguished guests. The Mayor-elect Castro. Our Assistant City Manager, Eric Walsh. And also let me take the liberty of introducing two other people, and they probably thought I couldn't see them in the back and my eyes weren't that good, but retired Police Sergeant Natlin Head and her husband, I believe, is standing back there. Retired Assistant Chief David Head. Over the years, local school participation has been a fixture in our ceremony. This year, we're honored to have the Gillette Elementary School Spur Choir. Please welcome them as they sing Song of Honor, Hero. Thank you so much for that wonderful performance. Our Family Assistant Officers Program was implemented several years ago to assist families of San Antonio police officers who have been killed in the line of duty. Officer Charlie Ricketts, who is part of that team, will now read the roll call of honor. Officer Ricketts.
Ladies and gentlemen, our fallen heroes. Assistant Chief Marshal Frederick Philstrup, May 29, 1857. Patrolman Van Ness Wells, September 22, 1867. Patrolman William Lacey, November 29, 1900. Motor Police Officer Frank East, June the 10th, 1917. Patrolman Joseph Pedraza, October 6th, 1924. Chief of Detectives Sam Street, September 11th, 1927. Detective Robert White, November 10th, 1927. Motor Police Officer Lewis Grove, March 22nd, 1930. Patrolman Theodore Boyton, July 29th, 1930. Motor Police Officer Raleigh Taylor, December 25th, 1930. Patrolman Peter Shrivenow, May 28, 1931. Detective Henry Perro, December 11, 1933. Patrolman John Stowe, December 3, 1936. Motor Police Officer Agnell Edwards, January 16, 1937. Motor Police Officer Earl Canning, December 23, 1938. Patrolman Julius Alberson, December 4th, 1941. Motor Police Officer Frederick Koblenz, November 8th, 1942. Detective Michael Ellis, Jr., May 11th, 1944. Police Investigator Otto Hillcock, October 18th, 1945. Patrolman Winston Culpepper, September 11th, 1954. Patrolman Richard Cuellar, August 2nd, 1968. Patrolman Guadalupe Martinez, September 4th, 1970. Patrolman Antonio Canales, May 18th, 1972. Patrolman George Jacobs, January 14th, 1973. Patrolman Russell Spanigal, June 30th, 1973. Patrolman Harry Brackman, June 27th, 1974. Detective Investigator James Anderson, July 1st, 1975. Police Officer James Bennett, Jr., September 13th, 1975. Police Officer George Copeland III, September 13th, 1975. Police Officer Eloy Gonzalez, August 15th, 1977. Detective Investigator Barnaby Salazar, Jr., November 16th, 1978. Police Officer Gilbert Ramirez, December 24th, 1983. Police Officer Edwin Gurrell, July 5th, 1988. Police Officer Antonio Garcia, December 4th, 1988. Police Officer Patricia Calderon, December 27th, 1988. Police Officer Gary Williams, March 27th, 1989. Police Officer Roger Henry, April 13th, 1990. Police Officer Douglas Gabley, April 20th, 1991. Police Officer Randall Cisco, January 20th, 1992. Police Officer Fabian Dominguez, January 15th, 1995. Police Officer Michael McGinnis, August 28th, 1995. Police Officer Oscar Perez, March 24th, 2000. Police Officer John Riojas, February 3rd, 2001. Police Officer Hector Garza, March 29th, 2001. Police Officer Juan Morales, December 11th, 2001. Police Officer John Wheeler, October 14th, 2005. Police Officer Valentin Lopez, June 21st, 2006. Detective Investigator Mario Moreno, September 21st, 2007. I would ask you to please direct your attention to the memorial flag guarded by an honor guard officer here on the plaza. This historical flag resides in the Chief's office and is prominently displayed. It is currently adorned with 48 ribbons listing the names of every San Antonio police officer who has given the ultimate sacrifice defending our community. At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Simona Davis, wife of Officer Robert Davis, to place the 49th banner with the name Robert Davis inscribed on it onto the memorial flag. On December 1st, 2008, Officer Robert Davis lost his life. On November 28th, 2008, Officer Abe Davis was struck by a vehicle and days later subsequently died from his injuries. Officer Davis was 26 years old and had served 1.5 years on the department. Police Officer Robert Davis departed December 1st, 2008. I would now like you to direct your attention to the living tree in the middle of the plaza. The living tree was planted several years ago and stood only 7 feet tall. Now the living tree towers over the plaza that includes the 49th plaque bearing Police Officer Robert Davis' name on it. I want to share with you the symbolism of this living tree. This tree is a living symbol of the constant strength and vitality of the San Antonio Police Department. The 4 ancient rivers of the world spring from the tree of life, and they feed the 4 seasons of the year. The plaza acts as both a calendar and a clock. Each quadrant of the plaza is a month, and each concentric ring marks an hour of the day. Like a sundial, the passage of time is marked by the moving shadow of the tree around the plaza. Each memorial plaque fixes the special moment of transition in time of an officer fallen from the department, much like a leaf fallen from the tree.